Hello everyone and welcome to Career Launcher. So in today's class, we are going to discuss a very, very important topic, and that is the removal process of a Supreme Court judge. Now, why it is important? So in general also it is important, but there is one more reason because of some current affairs news that this thing becomes even more important. So we'll be discussing this in today's class. So am I audible, visible, everything is fine? If I am audible, visible, everything is fine, please write yes in the comments so that we can begin our class. So basically, yes, good evening, everyone. And we are very happy to announce that we have achieved the feat of 20,000 subscribers. Thank you to all of you for helping us reach this. And we hope that we keep us providing you with these types of good quality contents. Yes, I think I'm audible, visible, everything is fine. Yes? Okay. Yes. Good evening, Kushagra. Let's begin with the class. So basically, why this topic is important, the removal process of a Supreme Court judge, because of this question. Okay. So there is a question, and this question will tell you why this topic is actually important for current affairs as well. Although in general, it is generally important that you should know the process of removal of a Supreme Court judge, High Court judge, and a rough idea you should have. So basically what happened was, name the former judge of Supreme Court who died recently and was the first to face the removal motion. Basically, this judge was the first judge in the Supreme Court in the history of the Supreme Court of India after independence who had faced removal motion. And that judge died, I think, hardly 1 week or 10 days back. So, and that is why I have decided to discuss this class. So what is the name of the judge? You have to tell me. And I'm waiting for the response. And everyone should be answering it. Yes, Kushagra Saxena. I've got one answer. What about others? This was in the news. It was a part of current affairs, newspaper. If you are reading newspaper, I'm sure you must have read this. Yes, the right answer is Justice V. Ramaswamy. Very, 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 very important for this year's current affairs. Okay. Okay. Yes, Manish Kumar and Kushagra Saxena, you both are right. Now, please tell me, actually the other three are also part of current affairs. Please tell me who is option A, who is option C, and who is option D. Why these three persons are also in the news other than option B? The other three option A, option C, and option D is also in the news today. So please tell me the reason behind it. News matlab, like you can say they remain in the news. So you have to tell me the reason behind it also. So you can see it here. Let's talk about option B. Justice V. Ramaswamy, ex-Supreme Court judge, Justice V. Ramaswamy, first judge to face removal proceedings in independent India, passes away. And आप देख सकते हो. So he faced the removal motion and all. And देखो यहाँ भी the Hindu में newspaper में article आई थी 12th March, so hardly 10-12 days back, or I would say former Supreme Court judge Justice V. Ramaswamy dead, and there was a removal motion started against him in actually. So that is what you should be knowing. Now please tell me, why is option A, C, and D in the news? So option C is in the news because today he has taken oath as a Supreme Court judge. Okay. Yes, Kushagra, very good. Justice V. Ramasubramaniam is NHRC chairperson, National Human Rights Commission chairperson. This is also very important because this was asked in ALET twice. A chairman or chairperson of NHRC was asked twice. Okay. So ये जो Justice Joy Malia Bagchi. So अगर आपने आज की अखबार पढ़ा होगा, if you have read today's newspaper, I mean today's newspaper on website, because I think a hard copy will come tomorrow or in hard copy. So you can see it here. Anna, Justice Joy Malia Bagchi sworn in as the Supreme Court judge, and he will, according to the seniority rule, in 2031 he will become the Chief Justice of India also. Okay, so that is what you should be knowing about. Now, why is Justice option D famous? Justice Prakash Srivastav. Why is he famous? And why? I mean, what is? Can anyone tell me anything about option D? Justice Prakash Srivastav. I'll be very happy to know. Anyone? So let me tell you. So ये हो गया है ना. Justice Prakash Srivastav is the chairman of NGT, National Green Tribunal. जब हम Article 21 पढ़ा रहे थे, when I was teaching Article 21, I had discussed about National Green Tribunal, है ना. Yes, Manish Kumar, very good, chairperson of NGT. And that is what you should be doing it. And Justice V. Ramasubramaniam is actually the chairperson of NHRC. This is very much asked, multiple times asked in ALET. So you should be knowing it. Then एक और चीज पूछा जाता है, ह्यूमन राइट्स डे कब मनाया जाता है? Please tell me that also. This is asked multiple times in exam. ह्यूमन राइट्स डे कब मनाया जाता है? So 10 December, है ना? You should be knowing it. Okay, let's move on to the next one. The next question is, see, basically this class is all about removal of a Supreme Court judge. So the removal motion against Justice V. Ramaswamy was initiated in the year what? 1993, 1989, 1997 or 1999? Yes, 10 December was the right answer. आपने सही जवाब दिया about Human Rights Day. Yes, Manish, you were right. Now please tell me that Justice V. Ramaswamy का removal motion कब initiate किया गया था? 93, 1989, 97, 99. In which year? Why I'm discussing it little in detail? Because he was in the news, and that is why I'm discussing. So I will explain in detail how the process happens, the Constitution, what the Constitution says about the removal process. If there is any law made by the Parliament, I will discuss that also in today's class. What is the right answer? The removal motion against Justice Ramaswamy was initiated in the year which year? I have just shown you article 3-4 minutes back, and in that article it was mentioned. उस आर्टिकल में ये मेंशन था, अभी 3-4 मिनट पहले मैंने दिखाया था. So just I want to see whether you have attention span or not. The right answer is A. 1993 is the right answer to this question. The former Supreme Court Judge Justice V. Ramaswamy dead. है ना? So the removal process started against him in the year 1993 and he retired from the service in 1994. देखो इसमें impeachment motion लिखा है. This is generally used in common parlance. But it is better to use the word removal, because impeachment is for the president and the process for removal of president and the judge of Supreme Court is different. That is why, although the Hindu newspaper and many newspapers use this word impeachment motion, but this is not technically correct. Technically correct is removal motion. याद रखिएगा. That is why in the thumbnail also it is mentioned removal of a Supreme Court judge. I have not mentioned the word impeachment of a judge. Okay, because technically calling impeachment of a Supreme Court judge is not technically correct. The right word to use is removal. Okay, because impeachment is used for the president, for the removal of a president, and the process of removal of president, that is the impeachment process, and the removal of a Supreme Court judge are different. Okay, so this you should be knowing about. So the process of removal started against him in the year 1993. And a former Supreme Court judge, Justice V. Ramaswamy, at the age of 96, died at his Chennai residence after a massive cardiac arrest. He is survived by 2 sons and 3 daughters, and he is a former judge, was born, etc. I think ये बारे में थोड़ा बहुत पढ़ लीजिएगा, है ना? He worked as additional government pleader and state public prosecutor and elevated as a judge of Madras High Court in 1971. So he became a judge of Madras High Court, है ना? And later on became the Supreme Court judge also after becoming Chief Justice. Let's move on to the next one. Now, we are talking about removal of a Supreme Court judge. So the question is, which article of the Constitution mentions about the removal process of the Supreme Court judge? कहाँ mentioned है? Please tell me. Where it is mentioned? Article 270, 124, 191, 146. What is the right answer? What is the right answer? Please tell me, guys. I'm waiting for the response. This is very easy. I have told you many times that 124, Article 124 talks about establishment of Supreme Court. So it mentions everything regarding Supreme Court judges. Establishment of Supreme Court में eligibility criteria, the appointment process of Supreme Court judge, सब यहाँ mentioned होता है 124 में. Eligibility, appointment is done by the president. Then removal process, all are mentioned in 124. Okay, this is what you should be knowing. So B is the right answer to this question. Similarly, Article 217 is for High Court judge. Same thing, establishment of High Court. है ना? So High Courts are related. जैसे, for example, like appointment, eligibility criteria for a High Court judge. है ना? Appointment done by the President of India. है ना? Then removal and etc. So that is what all these processes are mentioned in Article 217 for a High Court judge. Okay, so here the answer would be option B, 124 is the right answer to this question. Let's move on to the next one. What are the grounds for the removal of a Supreme Court judge mentioned in the Constitution? violation of the constitution, proved misbehavior or incapacity, undischarged insolvent, intellectual bankruptcy. मतलब क्या, किस कारण एक सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जज को रिमूव किया जा सकता है जो कि कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में मेंशन्ड है? कौन सा टर्म मेंशन्ड है? व्हाट इज द राइट आंसर? Which term is mentioned in the constitution regarding removal of a Supreme Court judge? Anyone? You should try at least have a guess. Yes, very good. Koshagra Saxena, you're right. Manish Kumar, you're also right. Proved misbehavior or incapacity B is the right answer to this question. Okay. So this is the reason which is mentioned in Article 124, Clause 4, regarding the reason or the ground for the removal of a Supreme Court judge. Now, can anyone tell me this is actually the ground for removal of which person, which constitutional post holder? Option A, that is violation of constitution, is a term mentioned for the removal of which constitution post holder? Yes, very good, Anusha Kansan, very good. This is actually for President of India. Yes, Manish Kumar, you're also right, very good. So these are the things you should be knowing it. है ना? आप देख सकते हो the establishment of the Supreme Court and the constitution of the Supreme Court. Yes, Kushagra, you were also right, very good. So Article 148-24 पढ़ोगे तो उसमें लिखा होगा कि there shall be a Supreme Court, Chief Justice, etc. Every judge shall be appointed. MJAC कब खत्म हो गया? We have done a class on collegium where we have discussed it, है ना? Then process appointment लिखा. देखो 124 clause 4 में आओगे. Here it is written. 124 clause 4 talks about. So you should remember Article 124 clause 4 talks about removal of a Supreme Court judge. है ना? A judge of the Supreme Court shall not be removed. देखो यहाँ पे word impeach नहीं लिखा है. Are you seeing it? The word impeachment is not mentioned here. So although the newspaper articles write these words, impeachment motion for Supreme Court judge or something like that, but you should know that it is not technically correct to use the word impeachment. Rather, we should use the word removal. Okay? Because that is what the word is mentioned. Removed from his office except by an order by the president after an address by each house of the parliament supported by a majority of the total membership and by not less than 2/3. ये मैं explain करूंगा, है ना? I will explain this, okay, in the entire class. And इसमें जो reason लिखा है, the ground of proved misbehavior or incapacity. If this is the reason, then of course the judge of the Supreme Court can be removed. अब ये बहुत, अब बोलोगे सर ये तो बहुत subjective चीज है कि misbehavior क्या होता है, incapacity क्या होता है. Yes, but we will discuss it that how it is proven. Okay, so just wait for the entire class. You will realize that how this is proven. So let us move on to the next one. Which article of the Constitution talks about impeachment of president? Because we are saying that we can say that impeachment of president is similar, I can say, not exactly the same, but similar to the process of removal of Supreme Court judge. But since we are talking about the president's impeachment also, that is why I'm asking it. Or the CLAT ने 2020 में when they changed the pattern, and they came up with their sample paper for the first time after changing the syllabus, they gave this question. So this was the question mentioned in the first sample paper of the CLAT after changing the pattern. And that is why I'm asking it. Maybe they can ask. So yes, Anusha Kansan and Kushagra Saxena, you both are right. Article 61 talks about impeachment of the President of India. So B is the right answer to this question. ठीक है, तो आप देख सकते हो प्रोसीजर, यहाँ तो इम्पीचमेंट लिखा, रिमूवल नहीं लिखा ना. प्रोसेस फॉर द इम्पीचमेंट ऑफ द प्रेसिडेंट फॉर द वायलेशन, देखो ग्राउंड ये लिखा है ना, वायलेशन ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, है ना. So here it is written, the proposal to prefer such charges contained in the resolution has been at least 14 days in writing of not less than 1/4 of the total members of the House has given attention. Such resolution has been passed by not less than 2/3 of the total membership, and when a charge has been so preferred by the other house shall investigate the charge. अब इसका मैं थोड़ा सा बता देता हूँ, you should know it. तो एक्चुअली क्या पहले क्या लिखा है? So if you want to initiate an impeachment process against the president, first you have to do it is 14 days पहले एक नोटिस साइन करना होगा 1/4 of the total member of the house. मतलब, so in either of the two house, I hope you are aware, this is Lok Sabha and this is Rajya Sabha, right? And Lok Sabha is having how many members? 543 members. Rajya Sabha is having 245 members. Now you want to start an impeachment process against the president. So first you have to do is these 543 members, at least 1/4 of them So if you calculate 1/4 of them, 4 ones are 4, 4 threes are 12, 4 5s are 20, 4 7, I think इतना कुछ आएगा. If I'm not wrong, please check it. So at least इसका मतलब है कि at least 136 members है ना should ideally be approving it or signing it in the Lok Sabha to start a removal process or to start an impeachment process. Okay, if the Lok Sabha wants to start, if the Rajya Sabha wants to start, then 245 divided by 4 करोगे, so 61 point कितना आएगा, 4 2 8, 4 5 20 है ना. So almost around, if 62 Rajya Sabha MPs sign it, then the removal or an impeachment process against the president of India can be initiated. So एक जब start हो जाएगा process, once the process starts, मान लो, let's just assume that the process starts in the Lok Sabha. So all the 136 members has approved, given it to the speaker by signing it. So now they should pass it by 2/3 of the total strength of the house. ठीक है, so 2/3 divided by 543, total strength इतना ही है, so that would be 2 into 181 है ना, and that will be 362. So if the 362 out of 543 members sign it or vote it in favor of impeachment, then it is passed. Then it will go to the Rajya Sabha, and Rajya Sabha में 245 into 2/3, it means almost around, अब देख लेना, 81 point something into 2 आएगा, so 162 के आसपास आएगा, 161 162. So if these members actually vote for it, then actually if both the houses है ना 2/3 majority, say if both the houses passes the resolution by 2/3 majority, the president would be impeached. Is it clear? And if one more thing, if one of the house, if either of the house, let's say Lok Sabha starts the proceeding, then the Rajya Sabha can investigate it. The other house investigate the charges. And if the Rajya Sabha starts the process, then the other house, the Lok Sabha, starts the investigation process. Okay, is it clear? Is this process of impeachment of president clear? Because I will compare it with the removal of a Supreme Court judge. दोनों को मैं compare करूंगा, and I will show that both are not exactly the same. Is that clear? First, to start a process, you have to have 1/4 members should sign it and give it to the Speaker of Lok Sabha, or in case of Rajya Sabha, Chairman of Rajya Sabha को देंगे. Then after the process starts, and once the process starts, you have to pass it by 2/3 majority in both the houses, 2/3 of the total membership. Is it clear? Yes or no, guys? Please keep on writing yes or no, so that I can understand that you all are understanding. Yes. Okay, fine. Now, why I'm saying, because I will ask this question. अगर आप अभी लिख रहे हो कि yes sir हमको समझ में आ गया, but after 15 or 20 minutes I will ask question from here. इसीलिए मैंने पूछा है. ठीक है? So let us move on. Yes. Now let's talk about the removal of a High Court judge. First answer it, then we will discuss about the removal of a Supreme Court judge. So it is same as the impeachment of president under 61 article. It is same as removal of Supreme Court judge under article 124 clause 4. It is not mentioned in the constitution. Or option D is High Court judge is removed by the governor of that state by inquiry conducted by the Supreme Court Collegium. What is the right answer? क्या सही जवाब है? And I've told you it is mentioned in article 217. लिख करके आप लोग डिलीट क्या कर देते हो? Somebody has written it and he was right. He or she, I don't know. So the right answer is it is same as the removal of a Supreme Court judge mentioned in article 124 clause 4. So B is the right answer to this question. ठीक है? तो हाई कोर्ट के जज का रिमूवल और सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जज का रिमूवल एग्जैक्ट सेम प्रोसीजर है. यस, कुशाग्रा मनीष कुमार राइट. तो यहां लिखा है, देखो आर्टिकल 217 अपॉइंटमेंट एंड कंडीशन ऑफ द ऑफिस ऑफ हाई कोर्ट जज लिखा है. तो एवरी जज ये सब लिखा है, एड्रेस एंड ऑल. अ जज मे बी रिमूव्ड फ्रॉम हिज ऑफिस बाय द प्रेसिडेंट इन द मैनर प्रोवाइडेड इन क्लॉज 2 आर्टिकल 4 फॉर द रिमूवल ऑफ अ सुप्रीम कोर्ट जज. Okay, so you should know it. B is the right answer to this question. फिर बाद में डिटेल लिखा है 217 clause 2 में अपॉइंटमेंट कैसे होना चाहिए, these are the eligibility criterias and all. ठीक है, तो एक चीज आप समझ लो, HC judge removal process is exactly same as SC judge removal process. ठीक है, is similar. देखो मैं similar का साइन दे रहा हूं, ऐसे लिख रहा हूं, है ना, similar 2 मतलब exactly same नहीं, impeachment of president. Okay, is it clear? Means impeachment of a president is not exactly the same, but High Court and Supreme Court के judge का removal is exactly the same, which is similar to, you can say, the impeachment process with some difference. is similar इसलिए लिखा कि exactly same नहीं है ना? The majority is different. Here majority required is different. Here is different. Here the inquiry is conducted is different. Here inquiry conducted. So we'll discuss it. Just wait. Now, so basically we are talking about removal of a High Court judge. Why I'm asking? Because recently this controversy also erupted and all, Justice Shekhar Yadav case and also Jagdeep Dhankar had said only Parliament has jurisdiction for removal. Why? Because there were petitions were filed in the Supreme Court also. So, but Supreme Court cannot do it. Supreme Court cannot remove a judge. That is what you should know. Right? So this was very much in the news. That is why the removal of a judge and impeachment तो यहाँ पे भी लिखते हैं, but removal process लिखा जाता है. The technical word is removal. And these things were be removed. Can Justice Shekhar Yadav be removed? A look at judicial ethics, courts and disciplinary guidelines process and all. So that was in the news. देखो ये December में it was in the news. नहीं, yes, Anusha, concern vice president's removal is different. That is also not called as impeachment. Of course, it's completely different. Vice president removal is comparatively easier as compared to impeachment of a president. Okay, and both the processes are completely different. Okay, तो इसमें ये लिखा था जब जस्टिस शेखर यादव वाली कंट्रोवर्सी हुई थी. So in 1997 में the resolution was voiced by the Supreme Court judges and all the sitting judges, है ना? And later on in 1999 also, that the behavior and the conduct of the higher judiciary must reaffirm the people's faith and impartiality. They should ensure degree of aloofness. यानी public meetings वगैरह में नहीं आएंगे ज़्यादा, लोगों से ज़्यादा मिलेंगे नहीं. They will not give public opinions unnecessary and all. So these things were said in the 1997 resolution. It is considered as a code of ethics एक तरह का, समझ लो. है ना? Code of ethics है कि they are supposed to follow it by themselves. है ना? Okay. No, but the problem is if they violate it, of course, there is no punishment and all, but they themselves are supposed to follow that. Now, let's talk about the process of removal of Supreme Court and High Court judge, because I've told you both are same, exactly the same. And so let's talk about this. Now, the process of the removal of a Supreme Court judge is mentioned in 124 clause 4, but to support that, a law was passed called as Judges Inquiry Act to support this, because to explain it, or to explain this article further in detail. So this law was passed by the Parliament in which year? 1993, 1968, 1991, 1951. What is the right answer to this question? Yes, Kushagra Saxena, Manish Kumar, you both are right. 1968 is the right answer. Very good. So अब देखो यहाँ 124 clause 4 में तो लिखा हुआ है, बस इतना सा लिखा हुआ है, but इतना सा काम नहीं चलेगा. This is written in 124 clause 4 about removal of a Supreme Court judge. But what are the complete process? So that complete process is actually mentioned in Judges Inquiry Act. Now we have seen it that to start an impeachment process against a president, we need a signature of 1/4 members, 1/4 of the member in Lok Sabha or in the Raj Sabha. So if you start a process of impeachment of a president in Lok Sabha, you need signature of 1/4 of the total, 1/4 of 543 members in Lok Sabha. If you want to initiate an impeachment process in Raj Sabha, you need 1/4 into 245, signature of those people. Now, if you want to initiate a process against a removal of a Supreme Court judge in Lok Sabha, how many members require? And in case of Raj Sabha, if you want to start, because it can start in both the houses, removal of a Supreme Court judge process or a High Court judge. So in case of Lok Sabha, how many members you require? कितने Lok Sabha MP का signature चाहिए so that it should start a process? Anyone? I'm waiting for the response. Any correct answer will be appreciated. The right answer is, I'm not able to see if someone has written. Please keep on writing. Yes, Manish Kumar, you're right, but why are you putting question mark? Yes, you're right. In Lok Sabha, you need 100, but if you start a process in Raj Sabha, you need 50 signatures. For example, आपको Lok Sabha में start करना है process of removal of a Supreme Court judge. Then 100 Lok Sabha MP has to sign that and give it to the speaker. There is the speaker sitting. or if you want to start it in Rajya Sabha, then 50 Rajya Sabha member of parliament should sign and give it to the Rajya Sabha chairman. And of course, speaker or chairman can reject also. Like chairman of Rajya Sabha, the vice president at that time had rejected. Vice president is the chairman of Rajya Sabha. About Justice Deepak Mishra. Justice Deepak Mishra was actually the Chief Justice of India, and somewhere around in 2017-18, this case happened, where the removal process was signed by 50 Rajya Sabha MPs, but it was rejected by Vice President. So they can reject also. The Speaker or the Speaker Rajya Sabha Chairman can reject also. है तो ये आपको start आपको पता होना चाहिए. So 100 in case of Lok Sabha and 50 in case of Rajya Sabha, both in High Court and Supreme Court judges case, है ना. So removal motion signed by 100 members in case of Lok Sabha or 50 members in case of Rajya Sabha is to be given to the Speaker/Chairman. Speaker in case of Lok Sabha and Chairman in case of Rajya Sabha. And Rajya Sabha Chairman is none other than Vice President of India. Now, the next question is, no discussion shall take place in Parliament with respect to the conduct of any judge of a Supreme Court or a High Court except upon a motion for presenting an address to the President praying for the removal of a Supreme Court judge. Yani ki in general, there cannot be a discussion in the Parliament about the conduct of a sitting judge of a High Court or a Supreme Court, except when the removal process has been accepted. Removal process has been accepted का मतलब है कि either 100 यहाँ sign कर दिया गया हो और speaker ने accept कर लिया हो, or 50 Rajya Sabha MPs have signed it and the chairman has accepted. If that is the case, it means the removal process has started. Now you can discuss about the conduct of that particular judge in the Parliament. Otherwise, you cannot. So which article says this? Well, the conduct of judges cannot be discussed in the Parliament in general, except when there is a removal motion has been accepted. Where it is written? Please tell me. 121. Yes. Very good. Manish Kumar, right. So, है ना, लिखा ना, restriction on discussion of Parliament, and no discussion in Parliament shall take place with respect to any judge of Supreme Court or High Court, except if there is a removal process has been accepted and the process has started, है ना, तब जो है conduct, अगर speaker ने accept कर लिया 100 signatures or the Rajya Sabha chairman has accepted that 50 signature, then of course the discussion can be done. Now the question is, according to the Judges Inquiry Act 1968, if the motion for the removal of Supreme Court is accepted in either Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, समझ गए? If 100 people here or 50 people here have signed it and the chairman or the speaker has accepted it, then a committee is set up to investigate the charges. So how many member committee is set up? 3, 5, 7, 10. And who are the members of that? बताइए. The right answer is 3, and it includes the judge of a Supreme Court, a Chief Justice of a High Court, and an eminent jurist, है ना? Eminent jurist करके लिखा होगा. So you can see it here, है ना? A distinguished jurist, what लिखा है? Distinguished jurist. Distinguished jurist मतलब कोई भी lawyer or a judge हो सकता है, who has or having a knowledge in detail and all. ठीक है. So 3-member committee है ना. Once the removal process is accepted, it comprises of a 3-member committee is set up by and those 3 members comprises of a sitting Supreme Court judge, a sitting Chief Justice of a High Court, and a distinguished jurist. Distinguished jurist मतलब कोई बहुत talented, knowledgeable lawyer or a judge or the person who is having a knowledge. ठीक है. That is what you should know. Now, देखो है ना, a committee is set up, 3-member committee, and then it finds it. If the 3-member committee finds it that yes, he or she is guilty, then it goes to the Parliament, and then Parliament starts the removal process. है ना? So after that, it goes. It is sent to the Speaker or the Chairman, and then the removal process is started. तो उसमें removal process क्या होता है? Special majority होती है, but इसमें majority अलग होती है. So if you see it carefully, the majority is not the same as in the case of impeachment. ठीक है? Like in impeachment of president, we had seen 2/3 of the total strength of the house चाहिए. So 2/3 of 543 was required here, and 2/3 of 245 was required here. So if both these are called as, है ना? So if both are passed, then only the impeachment of president happens. But this removal process of a Supreme Court judge requires something else. 2/3 of present and voting and half of the total. देखो लिखा होगा यहाँ पर, लेट मी शो 124 है ना, एंड वोटिंग हैज बीन प्रेजेंट है ना, majority of the total member of house and a present of not less than 2/3 of the process. मतलब क्या मैं बताता हूँ. For example, if there are 543 MPs, ठीक है, I'm talking about removal of a Supreme Court judge, and what is the majority that is required. So once the process is initiated, the 3-member committee has found them guilty and all. Now, if in case of Lok Sabha, let's say 543 MPs are there, so there are two conditions that needs to be fulfilled. First, 543 का half total कितना होगा 271.5 so 272. This condition needs to be met. Another condition is whatever people have come on that day, 2/3 of that. For example, if 300 people was in attendance out of 543, so 2/3 of that would be 2 by 3 into 300 would be 200 something. Okay. Now, if 200 people sign it, will it be accepted? If 200 people will vote for removal of a Supreme Court judge, will it be accepted? No, because ये वाला condition fulfill नहीं हो रहा. So both the condition needs to be accepted. And half of total and 2/3 of present and voting. Is it clear? You got the concept? Yes or no? यही वहां लिखा हुआ है. First क्या लिखा है देखो, supported by a total membership, मतलब 543 का half in case of Lok Sabha, and majority of not less than 2/3 present and voting. तो जितने लोग प्रेजेंट है उसके 2/3 पास होना चाहिए. Yes. Similar is the case with Rajya Sabha. So if Rajya Sabha में there are 245 members, first condition half को approve करना है. 245 by 2 means 122, यानी 123 लोग should be there. Second, for example, imagine on that day, imagine on that day, out of 245 only, let's say 180 people came. So 2/3 of that would be somewhere around 120 आएगा, है ना? So if the 120 people votes, still the process is not complete because 123 चाहिए minimum. दोनों condition fulfill होने चाहिए. Half of total and 2/3 of the present and voting. Both the condition needs to be fulfilled. So after that, the actually ये दोनों हो गया. उसके बाद जब once the process is passed, then the president will go and the president will sign an order removing the Supreme Court judge or a High Court judge. Is it clear? Is this process clear? Yes or no? So I will start again. एक बार मैं short में बताता हूँ. First, is this clear? Yes or no? So first, what you are supposed to do is first, जब removal initiate करना है for a Supreme Court or High Court judge, then 100 MPs either in Lok Sabha should sign or 50 MPs in Rajya Sabha should sign. In either of the two cases, if they have signed and if it is accepted by speaker or chairman, in either of the two cases, कोई भी एक जगह हो सकता है, then a 3-member committee will be set up comprising of a Supreme Court judge, a Chief Justice of a High Court, and a distinguished jurist. Distinguished jurist मतलब prominent lawyer or a judge, etc. And once they approve it, then it will go, and then they are supposed to pass it by that majority, and half of total and 2/3 of present and voting. And if both passes it, then it will go to the president, and then president will sign an order removing them. And I think it's clear now because I have tried to explain. Now here is a question. If you answer this question carefully, I will accept that you have understood whatever I have taught till now. अगर आप ये क्वेश्चन का आंसर सही बता दोगे तब मैं मान लूंगा कि आपने सही से समझा है. Please read it carefully and then answer me so that I can understand that whatever I have given my energy to explain it, you will have accepted. What is the difference between the removal process of a Supreme Court judge and impeachment process of the President of India? Please tell me. I'm waiting for the response. I have just explained. So please answer me. Everyone should try to answer, please. Yes. So the first thing is majority required in both cases are different. Yes. है ना, इसमें 2/3 of total सेंड चाहिए, इसमें चाहिए half of total and 2/3 of present and voting. Whereas if president के impeachment में चाहिए 2/3 of total. ठीक है? President is removed once the motion is passed. Whereas in SC judge case, if the motion is passed by 2 houses, then it will go to the president and the president will sign. It is also correct. President के impeachment में ये होता है कि once the impeachment is done, once the two houses passes it, the president is removed. But in case of a Supreme Court judge, even if the two houses have passed, still the judge is not removed unless the president signs it. ठीक है, तो president का sign करना भी जरूरी होता है ना? Then the president will issue an order, है ना? That is what I have told you. The next is the Supreme Court judge की जो inquiry होती है, in the case of removal is done by 3-member committee, whereas in case of president it is done by the other house. If the Lok Sabha is started, then the Raj Sabha will do. If the Raj Sabha is started, then Lok Sabha will do the investigation. In case of president's impeachment, here it is. When a charge has been so preferred by the either house, the other house shall investigate the charge. If Lok Sabha has initiated the process, the Raj Sabha will investigate. If the Raj Sabha has initiated the process, the Lok Sabha will initiate. So the right answer is D. Please understand it. अगर आपको ये समझ में आ गया, the concept is very much clear. D is the right answer. Yes, Manish Kumar, you were right. So that is what you should be knowing about. Now let us talk about Justice V. Ramaswamy case. है ना? So he died recently. आपने देखा होगा 8 March को, and that is why all these things I am discussing. So let's talk about this. Which of the following is true about Justice V. Ramaswamy? That was the name. And please answer me. Everyone should try to answer. I'm waiting for the response. He was found guilty by the 3-member committee. Yes. The 3-member committee which is set up under Judges Inquiry Act 1968. I've just told you. Na? He was found guilty of that. He was removed. Nahi, Parliament removed nahi kar pai thi. He was not removed, and that is why in 1993 the removal process started, but he retired in 1994. And he was not removed. The allegations was regarding ostentatious, मतलब खूब खर्चा उड़ाना, extravagance expenditure on the official residence during his tenure as a Chief Justice of Punjab and Haryana High Court. So when he was a Chief Justice of Punjab and Haryana High Court, he had done an ostentatious expenditure. बहुत खर्चा किया था अपने घर पे बंगला पे. So that was a part of corruption and all. So the right answer is A. Yes, Manish Kumar, you are right. A is the right answer to this question. So B, C is wrong. ठीक है, तो ये इसमें लिखा हुआ detail. So 1991 में Supreme Court Bar Association ने भी ruling pass किया, है ना? Then BJP and left party submitted a notion and all, है ना? Speaker accepted this, है ना? And then a 3-member committee was set up, है ना? तो go Chief Justice, Supreme Court Judge, and Chief Justice of Bombay High Court, and there was Justice O. Chinnappa Reddy. So these 3 people were there, and a retired Supreme Court Judge. तो ये जो है वो distinguished jurist में इनको लिया गया था ना? And he was found guilty in 11 out of 14 charges. तो इनको guilty पाया गया था, है ना? But he was not removed because the Parliament could not pass the resolution. So majority, whatever the majority is required, that majority was not fulfilled, and that is why was not supported by the MPs did not support it, and that is why he was not removed. Who was the defense lawyer? बहुत famous है, you will be surprised. He is currently the chairman of Supreme Court Bar Association. जो इतना मैंने बता दिया. अब तो आंसर कर दो. What is the right answer? So the right answer is Kapil Sibal. These 3 are dead. है ना? Palias Nariman died, I think, few months back. So the right answer is option C. Kapil Sibal is the right answer to this question. है ना? Was a lawyer. So 205 abstention by ruling Congress, and that is why the process was failed. है ना? He was not removed. ठीक है? That is why later on he fought an election also. तो खैर नहीं जाना. That is what you should be knowing about. Now, let me ask one question. In this case only, in Justice V. Ramaswamy case, the Supreme Court actually, because the matter was being heard in the Supreme Court itself, to register an FIR against a High Court or a Supreme Court judge, the approval of dash is required. This was said by the Supreme Court in the same V. Ramaswamy case. CJI, President, Lok Sabha, Raj Sabha. What is the right answer? अगर हाई कोर्ट या सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जज के अगेंस्ट एफआईआर रजिस्टर कराना है तो किससे परमिशन लेना होगा? ये सब न्यूज में आता रहता है अखबार में अक्सर. दैट इज व्हाई आई एम टेलिंग यू. इट कम्स इन द न्यूज़पेपर. यस, मनीष कुमार, राइट. सीजीआई का परमिशन. ए इज द राइट आंसर टू दिस क्वेश्चन. देखो पढ़ना, है ना? जस्टिस वी रामास्वामी केस में कहा था सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने, सो रजिस्टरिंग एफआईआर विदाउट द परमिशन ऑफ द सीजीआई. ठीक है. नाउ द क्वेश्चन इज, इफ you need to register an FIR against the CJI. Then what is the case? उसमें कहा गया था that any other Supreme Court judge, ये लिखा हुआ था, you need to take permission from any other judge of Supreme Court. Most likely the senior most after CJI will give the permission if it is required in worse circumstances. So A is the right answer to this question. So this is all about today's class. I hope I have tried to explain this in a simple and lucid fashion, the removal process and all. So please subscribe to our channel, press the like button, share this video. Tomorrow we'll be having a session class on Biosphere Reserve. Plus, I will be asking questions, quiz question from National Park and Wildlife Sanctuary class, which I conducted last week. उससे मैं questions भी कराऊंगा. So please do join it. Thank you everyone. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.